Hello, I wanted to answer questions that I get asked very often. One question I often get asked is, how do I get into perfumery? My suggestion would be, have a look at the Fragrance Foundation website. If you look at it, you'll see there's a whole careers section, and it's really important to understand how diverse perfumery is. There are so many different things you can do within the industry. I often get asked, what are the inspirations behind my scents? It can really be multifarious. It can be just a word, like scandal or danger or reckless. Sometimes it can be a person or a place. So if you take the Paris candle, I have a particular idea of how Paris is to me. Or if you take something like Diaghilev, he was somebody who changed the world. So all these different things touch my brain, touch my mind, and give me an idea. And who knows, hopefully the perfume comes out and captures it. I get asked, will I create a perfume inspired by a country? That's a difficult question to answer because who knows what might come just round the corner. But whenever I have made a perfume inspired by a country, then other countries say, well, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? A great example is the Gulf collection. So I created the other perfumes of the Gulf and they didn't end up selling. So it's a really difficult one, but who knows is the answer to your question. I personally love the idea of being recognized for wearing one scent, so I'm not a scent changer. I always use Roger Haute Luxe. I love it. Anybody who knows me for smelling this way. People are often intrigued as to what other scents I appreciate from other houses. I think it's always interesting to smell new releases when they come, to see what other perfumers are doing and how the market's moving and changing. You'll see that I wrote a lot about that in my book. I also think it's interesting to smell historical perfumes, to see how they've inspired scents for the future. So it's too difficult a question to answer because there are so many fabulous things that come into the marketplace. The process of creating a fragrance is a very difficult one to answer simply, quickly. What I would say is you have to have a very, very clear idea of how you think the end scent should smell. Then you have to use your knowledge of the raw materials and you come with a skeleton of a formula. You start to weigh the raw materials, you smell it, you see if they work the way that you thought, because it's more like alchemy than chemistry. And then you have to have patience. I think the key thing is having patience, because little tiny modifications will alter a scent so much. I always find it funny the different ways people try to winkle information out of me. What's coming up next? What are you working on? Of course, I'm never going to tell you until the thing comes live. Who knows, maybe there might be something for men lurking around the corner. There's, of course, always enormous disappointment when something's discontinued, and the way we try to manage that is by putting it into the Heritage Collection. So many of the scents which aren't in the market generally are available through the Heritage Collection. We only discontinue a perfume because the thing didn't sell. It's a horrible thing that you make something, you launch it, and then you cross your fingers. It's what the general public think of it. Sometimes the desire for something becomes enormous when people can't get their hands on it anymore. It's a bit like a lover that tells you they're not interested. Suddenly maybe you fall in love with them more than you ever did in the first place. I don't know. But it's a hard one because we do try to keep as many perfumes available as possible, but in the end one has to be realistic with it. If you're selling 5 bottles of something a year, it becomes really untenable to keep that particular perfume going. But most are available in the Heritage Collection. I often get asked, will we add to the Parfum-Cologne Collection? I think that's a little bit of, you do really have to watch this space. The Parfum-Colognes are still comparatively new, believe it or not, so we're still watching what happens to them, although it seems that with your support, the world seems to have fallen in love with them, which is great. There might be something new coming, added to, changed, who knows, and I might be doing something rather quite interesting with a new men's launch, maybe. It's very interesting how often we are just not happy with what we can have. We always want what we can't. So we get lots and lots of inquiries. Why can't we have this in this size and that in that size? It's down to what's practical, really. So if we make something in a 100ml size, and then we also made a 50ml size, and then we made a 30ml size, and we made a 15ml size, suddenly all these extra references have to go into the stores. It's essential that whatever products we make are fresh and in good condition when we sell them to our clients. So if we have too many references, all you end up doing is ending up with stock which doesn't sell so quickly, and therefore we can't guarantee that the products are in tip-top shape, which is essential for our reputation. We tried to cover it by having the things available in the 7.5mm atomizers and then the standard size of the product. It's also strange that as a company we're one of the few that often make larger sizes. Sometimes we launch a product in a 50mm and then end up being asked to make 100mm. So sadly, it's one of those things where you can't keep everybody happy. We try our very best, and I believe that between the main collection we have and the 7.5mm travel sprays, hopefully there is something for everybody.